Hi and welcome to Reclaim Your Life with Katish, and this week we have a special guest with us, and her name is Chantal Roelofs, and Chantal is a dear friend of mine who I've known for many years now, and she is passionate about empowering heart-centered women in crystallizing, stepping up and achieving their visions and dreams, and has made this a lifelong career and pursuit across many disciplines, many communities and individuals. Now, I met Chantal through my children's school and then through my interactions and involvement with doTERRA. So Chantal is a diamond leader with doTERRA, and she's also heads up Womenspeak in Australia, and for the last 3.5 years has led her WomanSpeak Circle in Brisbane and co-leads with the founder Casey Baker, and holds 3-day immersive retreats in Byron Bay. And if that wasn't enough for you, she's also a mindset coach to motivate change seekers, specialising in working with emergent business growers and mums who seek to rebirth themselves after birthing and raising their children. So that's a little bit about Chantal. So we're very pleased to have her today with us. And what I wanted to chat to you today, Chantal, is about the power of women's voices. So often, as you know, you're involved as well with the perimenopause and menopause Facebook group that I have for Reclaim Your Life with Katish. And we have a whole community of women aged 35 to 55 roughly. And one of the things that we find in the perimenopause and menopause life stage is that a lot of things bubble up and come to the surface for women, and can be presented in the form of symptoms. However, one of the things that we need to learn as women is how to understand our bodies and the messages that our bodies give us. So one of the things that we find is that during this period in life, women find themselves needing to speak up and express a lot of repressed emotion and stagnant thoughts and issues that just sort of bubble to the surface. So I just wanted to chat to you broadly about your understanding about trajectory of women's lives in terms of stifling their voice, stifling their personalities and opinions, and how you see this when women come to you, any of the various facets of your multi-businesses. Tell us a little bit about the role of women's voice and creativity and achieving what they want in life and just being felt, heard and seen.
Yeah, that's huge. And thank you for such a beautiful introduction, Katish. And I just also want to honour you for, you've also immersed yourself in so many businesses, bringing so much of yourself and is consistently turning up in ways that feel good to you. So I love how you do that, and I love how you bring communities of women such as myself and such as Georgina to really share our experiences, what we practice, but what we also serve our communities with. And so thank you so much for this opportunity to be part of this community, Katish.
Thank you.
So yes, this is a really huge, passionate area of mine with my work is really helping women to definitely step more into the versions of themselves that feel really good to them. And you mentioned that many women of our age in this menopausal group, we get to a point where we just don't feel ourselves. We can get angry. Our emotions are at the surface so much more, and we depending on how we were brought up in terms of our own social constructs, how we were brought up and the messages we might have been given very early on, like be the good girl, say the right thing, do this, do that. So whether that was part of the parenting that you experienced growing up, or whether it was part of your school system or the institutions that you found yourself at university, your first job, wherever you were, you would have experienced some kind of social conditioning of what's expected of you. And I think for many of us who've gone through not doing that self-reflection at regular times through our life, we're just a result of the schooling, of university, of our work, and then suddenly we're parents ourselves, we've brought up our children, and then for many of us in our, you know, late 30s, 40s, 50s, we go, you know, what just happened? I've arrived after all of that, and who am I now? And so that, you know, these emotions can be right at the surface, and we lose ourselves, and it's a point where women can feel a lot of pain, and it's coming up through this changing of our own lives physically, but emotionally and energetically, and particularly in our nervous system as well. We feel incredibly different to wherever we've been in life before. So it's a great point to invite women to start to really dive in deep to work out, you know, who are you? What do you believe in right now? And what, you know, who do you want to be in this world? And so that's what Womenspeak really helps women with, is stepping into the art and soul of public speaking. But I think there's so much more to Womenspeak than that. It's actually putting voice to wherever you are. You know, whenever you find yourself in a situation, you know, with a group of girlfriends in the cafe, or, you know, speaking with your husband at night on some really important matters, or whether it is getting an opportunity to speak in front of an audience, Womenspeak really helps women to dive incredibly deep and to come from a very, very authentic place in their bodies. So that's what I love. You know, what Womenspeak offers women is that journey. And I love what you said before about, with Womenspeak, it helps women in a lot of the activities before we speak. We really help women to get into their bodies. Within Womenspeak, we help women understand that your wisdom and your insights and your intuition actually don't come from your head and your brain and the way you think. All of this is held in your body. So the more that we can help women to sink into their body, to really get very close with the sensations in their body through breath work and through visualization, that's where we've got to help women to anchor themselves. So I like seeing it as like a circuit breaker, and just switching off, you know, what can often be termed like the monkey mind, overthinking everything, switching that off and just get into the body. How does my body feel in the moment? And, you know, where am I feeling tension in my body? Because often these areas of tension that we're feeling in our body is exactly where we're holding wisdom and insight. So the more we can understand and link back into our bodies and what's called like embodiment practices, the more we can link into that and feel exactly where am I holding tension, and even just taking a breath and feeling where that might be. So, you know, I'm just going to invite everyone who's watching this now, we're going to take a moment just to take a moment and take a breath. So I invite you to close your eyes for this moment. And I invite you to scan your body from the top of your head through your forehead and facial features, your chin, your throat, your shoulders, your chest, your abdomen, your thighs, your knees, your calves and your feet. Just feel where you might be holding some tension. And it doesn't need to be pain, it just is where can you feel like an increased amount of sensation in your body, and just focus on that one spot. And then with your next breath, I'd like you to take in a breath and bring the breath to that one spot of tension. And like you would just caress the brow of a child at nighttime before they're about to go to sleep, just bring that breath to that one spot of tension and allow for yourself to caress that spot of tension. You're not willing it to go away or wishing it to go away. Just allow the breath to caress the spot that you're feeling an increased sensation at. And on the exhale, just allow it to exhale your breath. And now I invite you to open your eyes. And so just in that one moment, that's a way we can just be very present with ourselves, our feeling in the moment and our sensation. And that's one of the practices that we do before we speak. It's called the caress of the breath. And it just takes a moment to just link back with our body through breath work. and not in any judgment of our body or the sensations in it, just acknowledgement of where we might feel something. And you might be feeling a lot of tension through your body, but we're just looking for one focal point. And maybe you want to take different focal points at different times of the day. But this is a way we can just like link back into our body. And it also does wonders for the nervous system. It does wonders for our emotional well-being, just to take a moment for ourselves. And it's almost like a feeling of sovereignty coming back to ourselves. And I think that's another thing with women of our age. We've done a lot of work, either, you know, with our children, or, you know, with external groups, or with our work, and our energy and our focus can actually go, how can we serve? Like, who's out there? What do I need to do next? Who needs my attention? What do we do? So the focus and the energy is often just being poured out, and it's kind of away from ourselves. But when we can just bring back a sense of feeling and calm, and just our whole focus comes back to ourselves, not in a selfish, indulgent way, but just really honoring and understanding ourselves as a sovereign, you know, individual entity, and bring that focus back to ourselves, it can really help with, you know, your own feeling and energetics. So this is actually a really important practice in Womenspeak. And if you ask Casey Baker, who's the founder of Womenspeak, like, what's the most powerful practice of Womenspeak, that one caress of the breath is actually it. It seems simple and profound, but it just works wonders on coming back and anchoring yourself in the present, in your wisdom, in your insight. And that's actually where we lock up our incredible amounts of wisdom within our body.
I was just noticing that I had not realized I had completely scrunched up all of my toes under the table, and I was holding a lot of tension in my toes. And I know that that you might think about, like, my neck was the first place I went to when I was doing that caress of the breath, but at the same time I simultaneously released my toes, because they were like, you don't, sometimes you just don't pay attention to the multiple ways that you may be holding tension in your body.
Yes. Yeah, really beautiful point, Katish. It's, we just hold so much in our bodies, and we're just so not aware of it. And just taking a moment to do that kind of practice can just really help us in a multitude of ways. It seems simple, but it will help in just so many ways to bring a state of relaxation, mindfulness into a daily practice. So the other things I just wanted to mention about, like, Womenspeak, I guess I came to it after like a career in science, and also working with a lot of Aboriginal communities in cultural heritage, which is understanding a lot of the environmental areas in Australia through a cultural lens, and understanding our landscapes and natural wonders through that cultural way of looking at things. And I'd come through a lot of these, you know, areas of work, often with working with, you know, large teams of men, more often than not. And then I birthed my children, and I was still sort of working in different teams, but it got to a point where I was really craving my own freedom, my own self-determination, you know, how I want to be in the world, where I can put my family first, do that, you know, the kids pickups, do everything, whilst creating a good income stream in the margins of all of that, you know, which is my own businesses. So that was what was drawing me. So I did become a life coach, and essential oils came into that business. But very early on in becoming a life coach, I was looking at what's everyone doing across the world in this space. And I came across this woman, Nisha Moodley, in the United States, who was running these great group coaching sessions in Mexico. And a friend had been there, and she said, this is out of this world. She's an incredible coach, and very transformational for every woman who was part of this process. So Nisha Moodley wrote in one of her blog posts that she wouldn't be doing this work without her speech coach and mentor, Casey Baker. So of course I'm like, who is Casey Baker? Googling her straight away, finding, like, you know, what's part of her practices, what does she do, and just following those breadcrumbs. And so I came across her website, and I was just blown away by this woman's ability to communicate. Like, it felt like she was communicating just directly to my heart. And it was like, wow, you're an impressive woman. And like, I can see myself spending thousands to go and do a group course with you in the United States one day. So I'm just going to see what you've got on offer. And in one of her newsletters, she put the word out through her newsletter, wanting people to apply to come and test drive this concept of a WomanSpeak Circle. And so we could bring in her practices in our own communities and run a WomanSpeak Circle to bring what she knows works for, in her speech coaching and mentoring and transformational process for women in her group coaching. But she really felt the call she needed to spread this kind of work out through all four corners of the globe and just make it much more available for many women and locally accessible. So, of course, I couldn't get my application in fast enough, thinking this is the way that I'm going to just dive into her brilliance and her genius and learn it for myself, but then also bring it to the women of Australia. So when I first found out about it, I could sort of, my mind was playing out. I can see myself doing this work in Brisbane, but it's also going to be great for all the communities I've worked with in Northern Australia and regional and remote areas where I know women can, be fantastic to hear more, the voices of women from, the diversity of our landscapes and experiences across Australia. So that's what drew me to it. The other thing that drew me to it is that, in all of my past experiences, I grew up as a very, very quiet girl, very introverted, and then finding myself amongst teams of all male scientists. Actually, my husband was one of them when we first started working together, but he was one of the good ones. There wasn't so many, very emotionally aware men, and I felt pretty crushed, and I would never raise my voice in, team meetings. I'd often come up with ideas and share them in the margins, but then many of the men would take my ideas and present them as their own. And I felt so unrecognized, unappreciated, just not myself, when I thought, I just don't even want to be here. And so I know the pain of not being able to speak up for yourself, and where you don't feel valued, you don't feel appreciated. I know it. It's a palpable feeling, a memory that I have in my body of what that feels like. So I've also felt like the reverse of that, where more recently, and particularly through my WomanSpeak time over the last 3.5 years, but even just before that, I've had the opportunity to speak to large groups. I've run many essential oil classes. I've run different day-long events, or I've been invited to speak on stage in front of 500, even 1,500 people at one time, particularly around gut health. And so I know the flip side of not even wanting to raise your voice in a team meeting versus the opportunity to speak to a lot of people and have impact and have resonance and actually enjoy the experience. So with all of that diversity of experience that I've felt in my body, I know what is possible for women, and I know the feeling of not sharing your voice, but I also know what it feels like and how liberating, and even achieving a sense of incredible intimacy with a massive group that you're speaking with. I know all of the, what the embodied sensation and feeling of that can be. And so that's what I love to hold my WomanSpeak Circle, and also these foundation courses, in really holding space for women to step into this very, very often uncomfortable edge. As we know, public speaking is often feared as much as death. So in women's nervous systems, when they get up to speak in front of a group for the first time, they feel like they're going to die. And so they feel like it's this, like their nervous system may go into absolute, it's screaming at them, don't do this, you will die, you will die. And to hold a very safe and nurturing space, and to help women through a range of embodiment practices, and then help them to step in front of a WomanSpeak Circle, and often to share their voice for the very first time maybe in their life. Or for many women are actually accomplished speakers, but they want to achieve an even greater intimacy with themselves and dive deeper into their messaging, and they really want their message to land with an audience, and they want to have impact and influence and resonance in increasing degrees, so that they can find their own creative edge with this. So I do love that WomanSpeak does cater for the absolute novice of speaking in front of groups to the professional. And I've had professional speakers and podcast coaches and other women, at that end. And so with what WomanSpeak offers within this very safe environment is for women to come and and to put voice to whatever is very, very deeply held within them. So within the WomanSpeak Circle that I do run, every month we do have a theme. And so the theme might range from something like, sharing what you believe in the world, or what your diamond insight is, or your own heroine's journey. Like, what's your journey, and how's that unfolded, and what is the insights and experiences and wisdoms that you've learned along the way. Or it might be the art of the toast, or speaking up on a panel discussion. And so within every one of those themes, it's not like you can just go and Google a few points and go, okay, I've got my top 5 points. I know I'm going to just go boom, boom, boom. It's actually inviting women to dive really deep. Like, what is in you? What is your true experience and wisdom at a cellular level that you want to bring your voice to? And so that's what I do love about WomanSpeak, is that it helps women just to keep playing at that really uncomfortable edge of diving really deep into themselves and putting voice to that. And I think, like you've mentioned, the option of not doing that and just keeping it all inside, and the emotions will just keep on getting bigger and bigger and urging you to find your own truth and your own authentic voice. And often that universe just keeps on nudging you to say, come on. It might be you craving, I need more freedom, I've got to start my own business, or I need something in my life, I'm so unsatisfied. And so I love that WomanSpeak just invites women to dive deep, to start to reveal those truths. And I also love that a lot of the brilliance of women is not done in the preparation of a WomanSpeak Circle. So many times women have no idea what they're going to be speaking about on the night. They might have a few clues, but the embodiment practices, which includes the breath work, we also dance to help women really get into their bodies and really feel the sensations of the music and the dancing, and it's more like a mindful movement practice. But all of that just helps women to dive really deep. So when they do come to speak, there's actually a brilliance which is happening in the moment. And so as they're speaking, they reveal brilliances and wisdoms that they didn't even know that was there. So even in the practice of speaking, the consistent practice is going to reveal more and more and more about yourself that is going to be just revealed in the moment, without the intellectual preparatory exercises.
So it doesn't sound very much like Toastmasters at all, really?
No. Yeah, it's very different. So it's a very it really honors feminine energy, and that's a really good point, Katish. It's nothing like Toastmasters. While like the common denominator is that we help women with public speaking in the moment. I think what I do love about it, it does very much focus on the body, and it helps women to create their own internal safety in the moment. So for many women, they might feel this intensity, and it's like, I'm just too intense. I can't speak, or like, what's everyone going to think of me? Or, the mind just starts to go into all different directions. But with WomanSpeak, it just helps women to develop their own internal safety in the moment to be able to speak. And it also teaches women that with the feeling that you might have about speaking, or you might have been at a dinner party and think, oh, I really want to say this thought, but and you go into a comparison mode, oh, it's already been said, or blah, blah, blah. Or there's this thing that's going on, and the feeling just gets too big, and it's like, I'll just remain quiet. With the feeling that might be rising in you about speaking, in WomanSpeak, we help women to understand that the feeling that you may have, you may put a term to it like, I'm a bit nervous, I'm anxious, I'm feeling a bit of fear. But we help women to really flip that and understand that that very real feeling is actually the very real feeling of your own power, and that you actually need more energy in your body to have resonance and to have impact within a group of people. So it's actually there in service to you. So rather than thinking of, oh, I'm feeling really nervous, I can't say anything, you're actually, the feelings that are starting to arise in you is just like you putting like an electricity plug into the socket, and you're actually getting a surge of chi and a surge of energy, which needs you to actually have more, like a bigger energetic imprint to actually have resonance within a group of people. So even with that, just a flip of mindset, women can feel very differently about, okay, it's completely safe for me to say something. I know the energy I'm feeling is actually here to serve me, and I'm going to say yes to it. And I'm just going to really feel into myself, into my body, and more resonance, clarity, wisdom will flow through women in that way.
I know, Chantal, that a lot of speakers these days even try and heighten that energy before they get up and speak, and jump on mini trampolines and things like that, just to activate that essential energy coming from the root chakra or the Kundalini energy. And lots of people talk these days about that which wasn't talked about a long time ago, which is that energy is not, it can go two ways. It can be fear or it can be excitement, and when you harness it, you turn the energy towards the excitement, and then that's when your power comes out. So I think that's a really important concept that you've just raised there, is that not to be afraid of those butterfly feelings. They are there to help you rise that energy up and out through your mouth.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Really beautifully put, Katish. And often, like, I'll be working with some of my WomanSpeak members who may be getting ready to speak in front of a large audience, and that's what we're doing out the back. We're dancing, we're putting some music on, and we're really like getting very present in our bodies through dancing, and so that their minds aren't like going out of control. They're really just so focused on their own energetic and embodied experience before they go and speak. So yeah.
Do you incorporate any of your knowledge of the oils in the rituals associated with Womenspeak, or that's totally separate?
I do keep them separately. It's not like an integrated part of the WomanSpeak program, but for a WomanSpeak Circle, I will have oils in the background, just with my knowledge of oils, helping women to find clarity with clary sage, or to speak their truth from frankincense, or bergamot for self-acceptance and self-confidence, or cassia with self-assuredness. So depending on the night, or it might be telling stories from the past. So maybe I'll bring in one of the furs, like a Douglas fir or a Siberian fir or a white fir, for intergenerational wisdoms. Or so with my knowledge of the oils and the emotional and energetic support that they can give, I will bring in that into the blend. And yes, as we know, the oils, they hit that olfactory bulb at the top of our nose, then hit the limbic part of our brain, which is the emotional center of our brain, and it can really have a very profound impact on women. So yes, and for myself, for my daughters as well, when they have a speech at school, or from, if I've got a speech coming up or on the day, I'll be certainly diving into my oils to support me, putting oils on my throat and throat chakra, or over my heart, and on my wrists, so I can smell them, on pulse points on the back of the neck. The other one that I really, really enjoy, just for being so present in the body, and if you feel like your nervous system particularly is going into the sympathetic kind of drive, where we're in fight or flight and just feeling in a flurry, then the oil of copaiba, like a couple of drops under the tongue, it does wonders on the nervous system. Just like, it's like a chill pill. So that can really help bring in a very embodied state very quickly. So copaiba under the tongue or on the back of the neck, on those occipital triangles each side of your spine, so they can get direct impact, like direct avenue into your brain, is a great place too.
And Chantal, I know that a lot of women come to you who have, for the business side of learning how to speak, but also I assume that there's lots of women in their 40s who have perhaps been in personal relationships where they've been disempowered to voice their opinion, and they've adopted the opinions and personalities of their loved ones. And so I assume that Womenspeak will, on the subtle level, and even more than the subtle level, help for women who just want to be able to express what they want to say in their own personal, intimate relationships, and to have a voice heard with it, and also not run away from conflict, to be able to get a point across, sensitivity to learn how to listen in a discussion, and then present their point of view. Is that you help in that sort of way as well?
Yeah, yeah, it certainly does. It will, like with developing the much more internal safety, and also a lot of practices will help women to own the value of what they have to say, and not second guess, and really own their own wisdoms and thoughts and ways of saying things, so that they can own that to be able to express it, but also have it really land as well. And you're absolutely right. There's three of the core pillars of what Womenspeak, how it provides such a powerful culture, is first of all is what we call fertile listening. And when a woman speaks, we're employing this fertile listening ability, where we're listening through a lens of what is brilliant about this woman in this moment. So we're not looking through it, how am I going to feed back, or what could she do better here? We're listening with a lens of like, what is brilliant about this woman in this moment? And maybe it's her, her presence, or the content of her speech, or the way she moves, or the way she makes you feel, or it could be just, so many little aspects of what she's going through. Or even it could be a woman's first night at WomanSpeak, and she just cried for the first minute of her speech, because her nervous system is in overdrive, and she, but even in that, reflecting back the brilliance of her being incredibly brave and courageous, offering us her truest, most, the most authentic expression in the moment was shared with us. And so being able to reflect all of her brilliance back to her, where nothing is dismissed, everything is just seen, very, very closely seen. So when a woman is seen and felt and appreciated in that kind of environment, she just blooms and grows in your presence. So this is a huge part of what Womenspeak does, is help women's nervous systems just recalibrate, and they feel very differently in their bodies when they're expressing themselves. The second main part of this culture is celebration. So we give her a round of applause as she gets up, but after she's spoken, we all get up and we give her a wild standing ovation with a lot of hooting and hollering. And it's like this tidal wave of appreciation energy. So I'll just give you an example, and I don't want to blow out your speakers, Katish, but it's not going to be just a polite little, well done. This is more like a woo! So you can feel the difference in energy. And if you times that by 10 women giving that kind of energy to the woman at the front of the room, it is like this tidal wave, and the feeling of this celebration is palpable. And often on a woman's first night, she's ducking and weaving and thinking, wasn't that good? What are you doing? And where's my seat? I've got to get away. I've got to run away. But we encourage that woman to stand in the front of this room, and you receive it. Just stand there, receive it. And that can often be a woman's hardest challenge on the night, is actually receiving and being seen and visible for her voice, because she might go through her own self-judgment and go, wasn't worth that, wasn't really that good, what are you doing? But when we're really helping her and inviting her to step more into being open and receptive to other people seeing her and hearing her and valuing her and appreciating her and recognizing her, maybe that's the first time in her life that she's actually ever felt that, that little bundle of emotion of being seen, heard, appreciated, recognized. And at first it doesn't feel comfortable, but the more that you do it, the more you open up to that sensation. And it is a wonderful, nurturing, safe space within Womenspeak, but that experience you take everywhere in the world with you, whether you're at a dining table or you're about to toast your mother-in-law at an event, or you actually take that experience of a lived nervous system experience, when you get that kind of consistent response every time you get up and speak, that's actually becomes part of your own neuroception and perception in the world.
I think as young girls and teenage and early adults, we learn collectively to play down, or we develop this kind of tendency to be able to accept compliments very well. We're sort of oh no, but you, and oh no, you always turn the conversation back to the other person, and we have to relearn the art of simply accepting a compliment and taking it in its full glory and not saying anything, just letting it come into our systems. And I find that difficult too. I blush and move away and, you know, get all fidgety and
Yes, that's a really good point. We often deflect, or like, oh, no, like, no, I'll push the attention back on you. Like, oh, but no, you've done brilliantly here. Or somehow, not be comfortable with being the person receiving it, or just accepting, you know, thank you so much. So I think this is a really important part of WomanSpeak, and helping women be more visible, owning their value a lot more, and not deflecting, going, no, not me. No, it's okay. They're actually really stepping in and owning that value through, you know, just receiving celebration and being okay, being seen, heard, visible, appreciated and recognized. So this is, you know, a big part of the journey. And then the final act, so the 3 pillars that really make this an incredibly transformational culture. So we've got fertile listening, the celebration, which is the clapping, but we also very specifically, we point out what did we love about your talk, and reflect that back to a woman, because often she's got no idea about her own brilliance and what she's actually doing that's having an impact on an audience. So reflecting very in fine, minute detail what she's just done that's had a huge impact on us. That's part of it. And then we also offer, the third thing is what's called refinements. So this is not about saying, well, you could have done this and this better, because women, we grow when we're celebrated, but when we're told, like, you know, you need to be fixed, you're a bit broken here, we feel like deflated. But when a woman is seen for her whole amazing self, but what we'd like to do is we just want to polish you up a little bit more to make you have even more impact and be even more powerful than what you already are. We see the whole human being, the most incredible woman who's done her very best. But here's some suggestions to take them on board or not. But these are some refinements that we'd love. You know, we want more from you. I want to feel more from you here. I'd love to, you know, feel more from your speech in this way. And when a woman is asked for more of herself, and I actually want more from you. I want to hear you more over here. I'd love to use more of the stage, so I feel more connected with you. I wanted you to be over here with me. I want more eye contact from you, because I can feel your message, but with more eye contact, I'm going to feel you so much more. And when a woman wants, you know, when someone says, I want more from you, she says, oh yeah, you see me and you want more, and she wants to be there. So it's a very subtle sort of mindset around the refinements, you know, compared to, you know, constructive criticism or feedback, which is very much based on the masculine model, you know, in Toastmasters and other speaking institutions. But with this, it really provides an incredibly very fast transformational system for women.
Fabulous. Now, Chantal, I know you have a meeting coming up that you've got to go up to. So before we say goodbye, I just wanted to ask you to tell us some details about how people can contact you. And I believe that you do have some WomenSpeak online introductory sessions that are happening at the moment. How can people get hold of you to find out more about that?
Yes, thanks, Katish. So what I do love to invite women to come in and just have a 1 hour experience of WomanSpeak, just to try it on for size and feel it and see if it's a good fit for you. And so the 1 hour introductory session happens every third Thursday of the month between 6 and 7. And so this is an online Zoom session. And so you come and experience, you know, a lot of what I've just been talking about, but I also play a couple of just small videos of Casey Baker introducing the concept of WomanSpeak. And then I run my circle twice a month. So this is a monthly membership option. And so I can talk to, you know, anyone interested more about that. But twice a month, we meet for 2.5 hours where women get the chance to practice their public speaking. So that's either a 3, a 5 or a 12-minute speech. So we help women work up the complexity of structuring a speech up into that kind of time period. And then also once a year, I do offer a 3-day immersive. Also, very soon, I'm going to be offering a one-day immersive for WomanSpeak. So it'll be a one-day, very deep diving day for women who can't join my circle over a longer period of time, but really get a one-day deep dive immersive. I'm also going to be offering 6-week programs too very soon. So that's kind of exciting. So watch out for those in the next, in a few months' time.
Okay, and Chantal, we will link to your contact details, social media profiles, but the name of your WomenSpeak page?
So I've got WomanSpeak Brisbane. So if you want to join that, if wherever you are in the world, definitely be part of that, because different bits of content will come up and help you on your journey, just wherever you might be on that.
Okay, and the name of your Facebook page, if people want to get to ask you questions more about the essential oils, what's the name of your Facebook page for that?
So there's Potently You with Chantal Roelofs. So just helping people to live their most potent life. So that's, across speaking, across using oils to really help themselves to, be the most potent, undiluted version of themselves.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Chantal, and we really appreciate your insight into the power of women's voice and being seen and heard. And we look forward to speaking with you on another occasion.
Thank you, Katish. Thanks so much for having me, and thanks
Thank
to
you
everyone too. Thanks.